You're listening to the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live show here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. We are breaking down today's 9-game main slate over on DraftKings and FanDuel. James, my guy, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good. Happy Wednesday, John. Wednesday it is, the day of Wednes.
I think they call this Hump Day
Hump. Mike.
Right.
You know what that is? Right, that one? Hump.
Yep.
Hey!
Yep.
Yeah, solid day. Hump Day. Wednesday. Baseball day. 9 games on the slate. No Coors Field. Man, I'm loving this. Love no Coors Field. I've really come to...
Makes things a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yes. Interesting slate. We've seen some starters. Well, one starter in particular, Luis Severino, no longer the starter for the Yankees tonight. He is projected to be the long man, but that's not even guaranteed with how bad he's pitched. The cheapest pitcher on the DraftKings slate, last I looked, wasn't even on the FanDuel slate in Emerson Hancock. It's an interesting slate. Not a lot of good value pitching. There's a lot of really good hitters going tonight against the bad pitching, and there's a lot of decisions to be made on, especially on DraftKings, where you do have that elephant in the room of a 4K pitcher taking the slate.
Yeah, we do have a very cheap starter. Before we get into the DraftKings slate, though, shout out to our friends over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. If you just tuned into the Better Sports Betting show, you had an opportunity to win a free entry to their RT Sports Best Ball Championship. We'll continue to be giving away free entries across the Better Sports Network, so make sure you tune in to our live shows each day for those opportunities. For those of you who are not yet signed up at Real Time Fantasy Sports, go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match, which they can use towards DFS Pick'em contest or best ball or seasonal fantasy football contest over there as well. James and I, time to give us our favorite RT Sports DFS Pick'em plays of the day. James here, taking a look at the RT Sports DFS Pick'em board here for today. Looking over things today, I think we have to go back to Atlanta. I think that's where I'm going to start off. My favorite players are going to go with Matt Olson, more than 1.5 total bases. Just doesn't really let us down, man. He just keeps on keeping on. Quinn Priester on the mound for the Pirates tonight. Should be another green light special for the Atlanta Braves this evening against the Pirates.
Yeah, and another night last night where they seem dead, and then suddenly they win by 2, and they have 1 million runs scored by the end of the night. It doesn't end with this team. They are clear, the best offense in baseball. Will continue to be the best offense in baseball until the end of time, seemingly. So I love the Matt Olson play. I'm going to pair that, John. I'm going to head to Baltimore, Houston. And look, I like Christian Javier. I don't know what happened to Christian Javier this year, but it's not the Christian Javier that I know, John. So a left-handed bat in Gunnar Henderson, who leads the team in a lot of categories here against right-handed pitching. More than 1.5 total bases. He has a 281 ISO against right-handed pitching this year. That leads the team. 374 WOBA also leads the team, John. And again, Christian Javier, 217 ISO allowed and a 363 WOBA allowed to left-handed bats.
I like that. I like that a lot here as well. Just again, big looking at the O's. I love the O's. Play them often. Last night again, played them. Framber got lit. Unfortunately, did not have the Adley Rutschman in my lineup, so that was a little unfortunate. I'll give a third play today, and then if you want to add on an extra, you can. But I think I'm going to go over to this Boston-Kansas City game here, and I'm just going to pick on the Red Sox because the Royals have been doing really well. And the Red Sox pitching has struggled. So Bobby Witt, more than 1.5 total bases here tonight for me, going up against Nick Pivetta and the Red Sox bullpen here. Has been the hottest hitter on that team. I'm going to rock out some Bobby Witt here tonight.
Love it. Kansas City is, I think, a very solid play. Now, Pivetta has been worse against the left-handed side of the dish, I thought originally you were going to go with Little Melendez there because you have.
I thought 5.5 fantasy score looks good for Melendez as well.
I wish they gave us our boy Michael Massey because I think both you and I would gravitate right to that. Like that would have been the chips in the middle of the table.
The first on the Michael Massey train, like it feels like we may be, right?
Probably, yeah. He made my my MLB DFS value play article over at FantasyAlarm.com today. I'm sure he is going to be riddled across the. Is your playbook out? Your playbook's out, right?
Playbook is going to be out momentarily.
Okay.
It's been a busy day over here in the streets.
Something like that.
We had Jake Butt on the Quick Out Fantasy Show today, so
yeah,
a lot going on here. But the playbook will be out momentarily. So, any other plays that you want to add to this?
Nope. We've learned this. I think the 3-pick has been our best friend.
Okay, I would agree with you there as well. So that's our RT Sports DFS pick and plays of the day. Again, go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit up to $200 on over there. So moving on over then to the DraftKings main slate here tonight. Let's take a look at some Vegas totals for everybody here, James. Talk to me about the favorites of yours here this evening.
Can you see Can you see it today, John?
Today I can. I can't see that it's out there, but I think I'm missing a game somehow. I'm doing a quick count. We have 9 games on DraftKings slate, but somehow I'm missing a game. It's not the blurred out game. The blurred out game was a 640 game, so not really sure what I'm missing here, unless I'm just bad at counting.
You're bad at counting. I see 9.
All right, well then we're good. We're good.
Math can be hard sometimes.
I just did a quick look. I was like, I only have 8 games there. No, I have 9. Okay, good.
No, you're good. Math. The math isn't mathing there, John.
Okay.
You got 9. I mean, look, the first game that sticks out is obviously the Red Sox-Royals game. It's been, the juiciest total of the week for this entire series. In some places, I see it up to 11. I mean, the over 10.5 is a pretty big favorite on some sports books. The under is plus money over on Bet365. So there's a lot of juice on the over 10.5 here in this Boston Kansas City game, which is understandable when Pavetta's dream run ended his last start, and Jordan Lyles has been the Jordan Lyles of 2 years ago when he allowed 38 home runs again. So that's obviously the most appealing game on the board. It's interesting to see Houston-Baltimore at 10 implied runs. I see 9.5 only one place, and then 10 pretty much across the board. That's up a full run from open. And I think people are realizing that Christian Javier isn't the same guy that we've seen from last year, and is Jack Flaherty's last start for real, right? So big implied total there. Nothing surprising about the money line in the Pittsburgh-Atlanta game. So those are the things that stick out to me the most. Is there anything to add on your end?
No, I think you covered a lot of what I'm looking at here as well. Let's jump into then a look at our DraftKings main slate here. Pitching wise, now we got Ohtani, Gausman, Free as your top 3 guys. I'm comfortable playing all 3 of those. We saw Yusei Kikuchi last night against Cleveland actually registered some strikeouts, pitched really well. We know Cleveland really is just on the downtrend right now. Losing Josh Naylor, the rest of that offense, no Josh Bell now as well after the trade deadline. It's just been Gausman's been very up and down, but we know he has that elite strikeout potential here. We know, again, with Ohtani, his issues lately more so been just hand cramping, but been dominant. And then Fried, you worry about the pitch count. I think he may still be limited, but I think we got 85 pitches, and that could certainly be more than enough to pay off the tag. So there's not a top 3 guy there that I'm fading. Willing to play all 3 of them here tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with playing any and all of them. So is the field. Ohtani's the most popular of the 3, Gausman and Fried, but they're all getting anywhere from 20 to 35% ownership. So the field is getting to them as well. I mean, it is a little scary about the Fried thing, but we've also seen this twice this year where in that Mets start that he made, the 5 innings, 86 pitches, that was like the complete game shutout where the game was just called after 5 innings.
Yeah.
So like we're not banking on like that 32 fantasy points is a little fluky because the complete game shutout was a little fluky, but like again, we have seen a massive ceiling out of Fried in not so much time on the mound. So
Right.
although I don't expect him to top 85 pitches here, there is definitely appeal considering it's a Pittsburgh lineup. If you were to rank them, if you like had to rank them, how would you do so?
Gossman, Ohtani, Fried. If I knew Fried didn't have a pitch possible count, he'd be number one for me.
I agree. He would be number one for me as well. But I'm happy the caveat. I'm happy the caveats there because if we attacked Pittsburgh, we know that there's going to be 9 runs scored.
Yeah, that's at least been the way things have broken for us.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pittsburgh and the way things have broken for us, I did write up again a little sneak preview here. Yu Darvish tonight.
Yep.
I say that because the last time we played Yu Darvish and recommended him was this Pittsburgh game where he got absolutely smoked.
Yep.
What's been frustrating about that was the 2 starts prior. He gave a 1 earned run against Philly and Toronto total. And then since he's given a 2 earned runs total against Texas and the Dodgers.
Yep.
All of 4 of those offenses are far better than the Pirates. So I would hope going up against Seattle, knowing their propensity for strikeouts here, that tonight Yu Darvish in a great strikeout matchup could hold down this Seattle Mariners lineup. That's my hope. Now again, he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good to us. I feel like we've pitched him a few times this year, and we've gotten more Pittsburgh outcomes than every other time. So he's reeling me back in. He's sucking me back in. I am in on some Yu Darvish here this evening.
Do you want to know who the most popular pitcher
is it
of
you?
the slate is?
Is
it's
it
not
you?
me. It's not me.
Is it Yu Darvish?
It is you.
Yeah.
And by you, not you either, John. Yu Darvish. And this is again,
I hate playing chalk pitching, so now I'm well aware.
Different scenario. 37% of the field, as of the last update, is getting to Yu Darvish, which is, higher than anybody else. And that's obviously frightening because, again, we've been bit by this before. But, it is a great spot. He has been great for the exception of 1 outing. Shout out to DePrince in chat. DePrince, what's going on, brother? Yeah, it's a great spot. I don't have much to add, but if I'm playing multiple entries, okay, here it is, John. If you're playing 20 lineups tonight, are you equal to, more than, or less than the field at 37%?
Probably slightly under 25%.
Okay. It's probably something close. I'd probably be around 30%. But it's also because you look at the rest of the pitching landscape. What in the hell do you use other than Yu Darvish, like below Yu Darvish?
Well,
Where do you go?
I just published the playbook, so I do have a couple of guys. Today's top pitching section in the playbook actually highlighted SP2s only. Little note above being like, I am comfortable pairing either of these 3 guys with any of the top 3 guys of Ohtani, Gossman, and Fried, because that's what I felt like most people's questions were going to be tonight. It's like, well, where do we go? Where do we go after these top 2 guys if we're not doing double spend? So I tailored that section to that today. 1 was Yu Darvish. 2 was Nick Pivetta, which, again, all caveats, right? We know Kansas City right now is playing out of its mind. But I also feel like they're playing at their ceiling. So 2 of the last 5 starts from Nick Pivetta, he said double-digit strikeouts. 2 of the last 5 appearances, at least. He's been the long reliever for some of those. But 2 of the last 5 appearances for him, double-digit strikeouts. As bad as the Red Sox played against Toronto last weekend, he actually pitched the best of the group of Paxton and whatever the heck the Red Sox put out on Sunday, the long relief crew there. Pivetta actually pitched fairly well and got a little unlucky there defensively going against him Also, if you go watch that game like I was, they were just some of those hits were just bleeders that like nothing he could do about it. Land just finding the gap between the shortstop and the left fielder. They weren't really all that hard hits. So, like, we like Michael Massey. Unless Michael Massey's all of a sudden reaching his ceiling as a prospect, like, there's going to be some regression. Love Bobby Witt. He could be this good forever. We see guys just play this well forever. But I feel like there's a chance that, like, there could be some pullback a little bit in this lineup. So, if that ends up being the case, the Red Sox are a favorite going up against Kansas City tonight and Jordan Lyles. I think there's a path for Nick Pivetta tonight to be a positive RB2. And then my dumpster dive.
Not a running back 2, SP2. I know you did the football stream today.
I did a football show earlier today.
Okay? He is not going to be he would not be a viable running back 2. That is for certain.
Yeah, he could be. He's big. Probably. I mean, the SP2. And then my value SP2 tonight, we're not going to 4K. You can if you want. I didn't. I actually kind of prefer to play the Padres tonight against him. I went Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks on the road this year has an under 3 ERA. Get him away from that windy Chicago stadium there, where he has a 5 ERA. We saw Jameson Taillon, another guy that on the Chicago Cubs staff that has a very bad home ERA, a pretty good road record. And outside of the home run that he gave up last night, like, he was pretty dominant. Went 7, struck out guys. Hendricks isn't a big strikeout pitcher, but 3 or 4 strikeouts in his wheelhouse. He's had a couple of 5 strikeout games already this year. You get him on the road. Cubs are big favorites here tonight at $6,600 on DraftKings. I think there's a path where, like, if Kyle Hendricks goes out there and gets you 14 or 15 fantasy points at $6,600, you're looking good. So those are the 3 SP2s I like tonight: Darvish, Pivetta, and Hendricks.
Yeah. Just to speak on your Pivetta as a running back, I think he's a little too old to be a running back in today's market. So yeah, he's old. So he's not. I don't think he's that old actually. Like 36, but for a running back, I mean, True. He would not get a contract if you were playing in today's market. I'm like very on the fence about Pivetta, and I'm okay getting there because you're right. Like, Kansas City is just better than what they've been. Pivetta is a huge favorite. The Royals only have a 4 implied run total. As a lineup, it's a 23% strikeout rate overall. Like, they still stink overall this year against right-handed pitching. Since the break, though, 8th in OPS, only a 19% strikeout rate. Like, it's definitely better. He definitely struggles more with left-handed bats than righties, and like, I would say the righties, specifically Witt and Salvi, are their 2 most potent hitters. So, like, Pivetta does have that on his side. I can be swayed to use Pivetta in one lineup and the Royals in another, right? Like, if I'm only playing one lineup, like, if you were to rank Pivetta and the Kansas City lineup, like 1 and 2, like. Because if you're playing multiple lineups, you could just get shares of both. But if you're only playing one lineup, how would you prefer to use Pivetta, or would you prefer to use the Kansas City lineup?
I am probably using, for tonight's slate, probably Pivetta.
Probably Pivetta. I mean, on a different slate, the answer's probably.
It's probably the other way around, right? Now, let me just to put into perspective, like I said about Pivetta and just getting fairly unlucky. Now, if you go to Fangraphs, now we're cherry picking stats here, right? But I just want. Just to prove that my eyes weren't deceiving me, he had only 13% hard contact against in that Toronto game. They had a 357 batting average in balls in play. So, like, I mean, there's nothing, you just can't do anything about that. Yeah. They were no hard contact and 357 BABIP against. So, like, he's pitching well. So I'm just gonna see if he can hold down a team that is playing above their water right now. And if they don't, they don't. But I play the 3 max. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm also not going to have Michael Massey in a lineup or Melendez in a lineup. They won't be in my Pivetta lineup, but they'll be in other lineups because they're cheap and I need to spend up for the Padres. I need to spend up for the Braves and get those guys in my lineup here tonight. So, I'm going to go both ways with it for sure. But if I was making one, I think I'm trusting Pivetta here today over the Royals lineup.
Okay.
And Faisal, I'm with you 100%, man. You like Pivetta today. So am I, right there in the range with you. Are you touching anybody else here other than who I've mentioned so far?
So I think the one other question I would ask is, and I'm okay with you already made the comment on Emerson Hancock, $4,000 on San Diego or on Seattle. He's facing San Diego. You'd rather use Padres offense. Yeah, me too. I would rather too. But like, I'm also so on the fence about Pavetta, and Jack Flaherty is getting some ownership tonight, and I don't really want to touch that. That's a little scary at 7,200.
I like Houston tonight also.
I know.
So.
I would rather, if I'm taking a shot on anyone, it's probably Hancock. And again, it's another situation where if I'm making multiple lineups, I'm just going to get both sides of the pie. Like, I'm just going to play San Diego on one. I'm going to play Hancock on one. Hancock's $4,000. He's pitched really well at AA his last 4 starts. I know it's been like a very up and down season. If you've looked at his like resume, he has like 5 games in AA where he's allowed 6 or more earned runs. Like, all the earned runs he's allowed has happened in 4 games of his 20 starts, which is concerning because now he has to face a major league lineup. Like, that's he's doing that at AA. He does have a lot of strikeout upside in the minor leagues. It's just, again, it's like the 5th or 6th time this year that we've looked at a 4K pitcher. And again, he's not on FanDuel, so all those playing FanDuel, you don't have to worry about it. But at 4K, if I used, let's say, Shohei Ohtani just for the absolute ceiling and the absolute floor, I still have $4,300 for the rest of my build. And, the Braves are in a great spot tonight, and the Yankees are expensive in some spots, a.k.a. Aaron Judge, who took to the 8th inning to get my home run call right last night. But you know what? That's all that matters. So, like, there's some expense. If you're playing Houston, there's very expensive bats tonight that I want to get to. So
yeah, Houston's another team you talk about. Doing nothing for a little bit, then all of a sudden Kyle Tucker's hitting a grand slam.
Dude, Felix Bautista, who had allowed like 1 run since May.
Yeah,
did you see that? It was like literally 1 earned run since May, and then gives up a grand slam.
Yeah, Kyle Tucker's that dude. So
he is that dude.
Let's see. We got a Mariners lineup here. Let's see who's going to ruin my dreams here this evening. Crawford, Rodriguez, Suarez, Raleigh, Hernandez, Ford, France, Marlowe, and Rojas. Come on, you. That is a.
It's you know who it is. I see a home run from Mike Ford tonight for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say Marlowe coming through tonight.
And Cade Marlowe, 2 home runs, 6 and 8. Yeah. Good for you. You don't have to. Good for you, not you, but good for you, Darvish.
Sure.
Not having to deal with the GOAT Tom Murphy.
That's true. That's true. Mike Ford. Rojas turned back the clock night, probably.
Last year's version of Josh Rojas. Yeah, it's great.
It's gonna be great. So can't wait. All right, let's move on over to catcher here and just talk about Yan Gomes and why he's our guy.
Yeah. I mean, we do this every show. Wait a second.
Is Yan Gomes not playing tonight?
I'm so sad. Miguel Amaya.
We play Miguel Amaya.
20. Well, we might as well go to him because we know, like, every time we talk about Yan Gomes lefty, we get a comment from Mark immediately following saying, "Well, what about Mike? What about Mike Amaya?"
Yeah,
and it's like, "Hey, Mark, his name isn't Mike." But Miguel Amaya is okay. Very sad. Like, if the Cubs are like just giving him an off day here, it's like you got to know the schedule, guys. Like, you got to know a lefty's coming up the next. Like what do we do? What are we doing? Amaya does have a 345 WOBA against left-handed pitching.
I was gonna say Amaya is good, right? Like I'm fine going Amaya. I'm good with the carjacker Reese McGuire as well. If we wanna go there, lefties against Jordan Lyles.
Oh no!
I'm just saying.
People probably hear like. There's been a play on this like Reese McGuire thing. For people who don't know, just go look it up.
Just Google
Reese McGuire
parking lot and see. You'll know what happened. If we're not going there, I do like both of the catchers for Toronto. We talk about this a lot. Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk hitting 5th and 7th tonight for Toronto.
Yeah, Jansen's actually the chalk play at catcher tonight. Him and Salvador Perez, but again, the Salvador Perez thing is a situation where he has multi-position eligibility.
Yeah.
Jansen, 299 isolated power against left-handed pitching. Alejandro Kirk coming around lately too. He's been a little better of late. His last 30 days, John, against left-handed pitching, 259 ISO, 438 WOBA. A lot of green on my chart for Toronto tonight.
Yeah.
I like Logan T. Allen. He does have a high ceiling. He walks too many guys. He's been hit up a little bit lately, and he struggled against righties. So, the Blue Jays have, by my counts, quick math, the math is mathin',
They
eight
one
righties,
I said they one
eight
lefty
righties, and
Yeah.
Dalton Varsho hitting ninth. That is the lineup. So, a lot of good numbers peeking out for the Blue Jays, and Mark talked about it.
Mark asked earlier. Yeah, Mark asked second comment of the show. Any chance Blue Jays are owned today?
They are. Now, predictably, the Red Sox are by far.
Yeah, it's Jordan Lyles Day, man.
Jordan Lyles Day. Formerly, this used to be something we
Patrick
celebrated
Corbin
like Patrick Corbin Day, right?
Not Aaron Smiley Day. Dylan Cease, not Dylan Cease. Who was the Dylan Covey? Dylan Covey
Day.
Was so bad for a while.
Bad. Ryan Weathers was a good one. Always stacked against Ryan Weathers. Jordan Lyles is there. Toronto getting 7 to 8% ownership, total. They're about the 5th or 6th highest team on the board. I think they make for an interesting stack, especially how cheap you can get most of their lineup outside of Vladdy and Springer.
Yeah. No problems with that one there. And if you're spending up, you mentioned Salvi. I would be, listen, he's super expensive, but Adley's still really good. So if you're playing O's, I mean, go rock yourself. Howard Bender actually had it on the Better Sports Betting Show. His prop today was Adley Rutschman 1+ RBIs, for plus, forget what he had. Out of the leadoff spot, Adley Rutschman has an RBI in 8 straight games.
That's kind of crazy.
As a leadoff hitter,
I know it's kind of crazy. So, what a world we're living in that a catcher is leading off for somebody. I know I don't dispute the reasoning. I'm just saying that's weird. It's weird seeing a catcher leading off.
It's because he gets on base, 372 on base percentage. So
lefty's hammer.
Who could have been there was Jorge Mateo if he.
We had them. We'll
never forget. We'll never forget April.
We'll never forget April, dude. That was a magical month.
Yeah, magical month. Jorge Mateo's, put on Michael Jordan basketball shoes, right?
True.
Came like Mike, only that he turned into Michael Jordan on the baseball field.
Yes, he became the Michael Jordan, the baseball version.
Wasn't good. All right, first base position here. Matt Olson. I
was gonna say, are you playing anybody else other than Matt Olson? Because I know you're gonna kick yourself when he double dongs and you don't have him in your lineup.
I mean, I feel again. I like playing some value today. My core lineup today is going to be probably Royals value, Hendricks with Gossman, and then Atlanta, probably, right? Because it's the only way I can afford Atlanta and Gossman is to play Royals and Hendricks, probably. So I haven't fully built the lineup out yet, but that's kind of where I think I'm leaning here. So it started off great last night. Leadoff home run from Ronald Acuna. I'm like, here we go. And nobody played the Braves. Acuna was 14%. Olsen was 13%. I had Riley at 8%. I had Harris at 6%. And he did great too. So, I'll probably go right back to Atlanta here. He's at 63. You can obviously play Freeman if you want, but Kelly is a reverse splits pitcher, so I don't think that matters for Freddie Freeman. But it has to be said. Kelly gets lefties out there. Jeimer, 44. Love him. I know we've talked about this where Candelario this year against lefties, his overall numbers aren't great, but last 30 days, way better. It's 397. I wrote it in the playbook, but forget the exact numbers. It's 370 WOBA and a 220 ISO against lefties over the last 30 days. So Candelario starting to pick it up against Southpaws recently for the sample size there. So and historically has been good against lefties. So definitely there. And then Faisal asking about Casas. Yeah, he's going to be probably heavy value tonight for a lot of people.
Yep. Yeah, top rostered first baseman.
Yeah.
Deservedly so. He's been great. We both have him written up tonight. I wrote him up in my value article. You wrote him up in the playbook over at fantasyalarm.com.
Yeah.
Since the break, John, you know how many home runs Tristan Casas has?
8.
You know how many he had before the break?
8.
9. And that was in 77 games. And since the break, it's 22 games. He's been a freak. He's been a freak.
It's always funny when you look at like sample sizes. Though, it's like last 10 games he's hitting 200, but it's like, yeah, but if he had like one more hit, he'd be hitting like 300. You know? So
that was the Henry Davis argument a month ago when he was hitting like 240. And you're like, watch, a 3-hit game and he's hitting 280. And it was literally 280 on the button after that game.
Yeah. So again, Casas sure, but you know what? 2 of the last 3 games, 2 hits yesterday, a home run on Sunday. Still very usable here. We also like Andrew Vaughn still, right? We're still in on the White Sox tonight.
Yeah, I'm just a little like the assumption is that Severino is the long man, and that hasn't been confirmed. But beat writers expect it to be the case, where the Yankees have been like figuring out what to do with Severino for a couple starts, and they keep sending him out there as a starter, and he keeps sucking. So it's like, all right, Ian Hamilton's been really good out of the bullpen. The Yankees bullpen is really good as a whole. So if Severino isn't the person to come out of the bullpen, then I think it's a little concerning. If he is, all systems go for Andrew Vaughn and the rest of the team. I wrote Andrew Vaughn up. I then put a writer's note in the value vault. So I wrote this up with the assumption Severino was starting, and now Ian Hamilton is starting. And Ian Hamilton hasn't spanned more than 3 innings in an outing. So they're not using him as a traditional starter. He's going to be the opener. He's probably going to go 2 innings I guess. Vaughn's first at bat likely comes against Ian Hamilton because he's thrown 2 innings in 3 consecutive outings. So that would be my assumption. But I think everything's on the table with the Yankees. How do we continue to put this guy out there every day? So I do like Vaughn. I just do think there is the elephant in the room is Severino actually going to come in this game, and for how long is he in this game?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I had that little scare last night playing Angels. They get to can't remember who started
Alexander early,
and then they bring in Junis, and I was like, no, where's Alex Wood? What's going on? And then Alex Wood comes in anyways a little bit later. So definitely felt that a little bit. Mark wants to know, is the Moose on the loose here tonight? Who's coming in after Walker? Is Manaea even their long reliever anymore? Or is he just a regular reliever for them? What's going on with this team
now? Tristan Beck is what is being projected.
Okay.
And then Manaea is projected to be after Beck. That's the problem with what the Giants are doing. They're all throwing 2 innings. Nobody's throwing 5-6 innings out of the bullpen. They're just, the Giants are going with this modified version of opener long man, where it's opener, second opener, third opener. Nobody is pitching very much. So yes, Manaea.
Yeah, Manaea or Beck are going to after Walker. Great.
Yeah, he's expected to come in, but I mean, Sean Manaea 1 2/3, 2/3 his last 3 outings. So to your point,
he's basically just a lefty reliever. So would that shy you off of Moustakas tonight then, or no?
Dude, openers are it's just a tricky waters to navigate, right? Would it? No, but I'm also not fully invested. I'd rather probably play him at third.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of really good first base plays that we just mentioned, especially Olsen and Casas, at first. I'd rather just find the money to get to both those guys.
Okay, that's fine. Then I'll throw O'Hearn out there because you mentioned Javier. Javier's numbers against lefties this year: 358 WOBA, 496 slugging percentage. So If you want to rock O'Hearn there at 2,900, more power to you. Second base. Where are you going second base here tonight?
Very interesting ownership here. I don't think it's surprising to see Trevor Story, the highest owned second baseman, but
he's a shortstop, which they would update him, but they don't.
There's 3 Red Sox second basemen that have the 3 highest ownership projections today. So
3.
Story, Urias, and Pablo Reyes are all second base eligible, all 1, 2, and 3 in terms of. This is what I was saying. Like in terms of ownership, the Red Sox are by far the highest owned.
Who's playing Pablo Reyes tonight? That's what I want to know.
Didn't I? To be fair, and this is the only time I'll give Pablo Reyes credit. I said it the other day. I was like, who the heck would ever play Pablo Reyes? Because what is his upside? And then he hit a grand slam.
Yeah, 37 fantasy points, yeah.
Grand slam on a day he also stole a base. I would have. I mean, I'm not going to play him. I would play Story. I would play Albies of the top tier. And I would play Ha-Seong Kim, who, he had a tough day yesterday. So did every Padre, but he's been incredible for like 2 months now. So
yeah, I agree with you. I think you can throw Drury in that mix. He finally had his good game off the injury list. 3 hits and a homer last night. Whit Merrifield leading off against Allen. You mentioned all the righties in that lineup. Great spot for him at 44. Fine going Rengifo here at 39 as well. I know him and Drury matching positions. So you want to save some cash, you can go there. Urias is great, and then Massey hitting third again against Pivetta. So,
yeah, I think that's ultimately the spot I'd go. As long as Michael Massey exists in the world at this price, it's really hard for me to not, because like I told you, like I'm probably not playing Pivetta again. If I was playing 20 lineups, I would have shares. I'm not playing 20 lineups, so I don't have shares. I would rather just play the upside of Massey just with current form, especially in the power department.
Yeah. 957 OPS, 606 slug, the last 10 for Michael Massey here. So I like it. No arguments with me. Would you play Andrews? He's down 9th tonight, but.
No, we talked about it last night. If Anderson was in the lineup and he was leading off again, I'd probably play him. But hitting 9th, I think it's a little.
All right. Third base, I mean, you got Devers, you got Riley, you got Machado tonight. There's a lot, again, always third base is loaded. So I think depending on what your stacks are tonight, you just pick the third baseman that fits them because they're all in play. Except for Ramirez. Don't play with Ramirez.
How would you rank and throw Gunnar in there because he's really popular?
Yeah,
how would you rank the top?
Given the numbers against lefties, right? Like that's crazy. Devers, Gunnar, Riley, Machado, Bregman?
Yep. Probably agreed. No one's playing Braves, by the way. Just want to throw
fine.
Like, I shouldn't say no one. I shouldn't say no one, but like.
But if it's less than 15%, that's still an edge on the field. So like.
I mean, there's only one team over 15% rostership tonight. It's the Red Sox. They're not even half that.
We'll see. We'll see where they go.
Their ownership is always going to be driven up by like Acuna too, because he's just always popular. Like every slate, Ronald Acuna checks in with double-digit ownership. And again,
$600, $6,800.
Again, yeah, and again, he is very popular once again. But like nobody's playing Olsen, nobody's playing Riley.
I mean, I think it's also pitching dependent too, right? If there's not enough like value or mid-tier, it's hard to really pay up for all of those guys. So. Sure. You got to pick and choose your positions where the value is. So if no one's playing Riley or Olsen, they're playing an Acuna one-off and then elsewhere, right? So
yeah.
All right, what's your mid-tier, guys? We talked about Candelario already, so where else are we going?
Michael Garcia, if you're not playing Pivetta, he's been really good. He's been stealing a lot of bases, hits in like 15 straight games, 12 straight games, 13 straight games. I don't know how long the math is hard. On the spot here. But he has a lot of hits hitting at the top of the lineup. I like what's behind him right now, too. Like, he's scoring runs. He's stealing bases. So, Garcia's 39. I think he's going to be pretty popular. And then it's like value plays. Like, Luis Urias is a little bit interesting. He has been decent as a fantasy producer with the Red Sox. And that might be where my
Jason Peterson
interest.
hitting 6th tonight. No love there.
It's fine. Like Bobby Miller he has been so underwhelming. So like if you want to go to Jace Peterson, last 30 days, 342 WOBA against right-handed pitching is pretty decent. Lefties have been, giving Miller fits in the power department.
All right.
So
Before we hop it over to the shortstop, those of you who are tuning in today, appreciate you all. If you have any questions, get them in the chat. James and I are more than happy to answer those lineup questions. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Help us out a bit here as well. If you're not yet a Fantasy Star family member, you see the scroll down the bottom. You can sign up today, get a 7-day free trial, access to all of our premium content, and get a copy of our fantasy football draft guide for free. So a great opportunity now to become a part of the Fantasy Alarm family. Shortstops. Again, I mean, Bobby Witt, the way he's been playing, it's hard to ignore this guy. 6 stolen bases, 4 home runs. He's got the skill set to be one of the top overall players in all of fantasy on a night-to-night basis here. 442, 1,300 OPS. Again, I only consider Pivetta because of the lack of mid-tier, but this guy right here is a reason why you would not play Nick Pivetta, because he can just do a lot of damage here, both on the base paths and with his bat.
Dude, he has 25 combined runs and RBIs over his last 10 games. That is crazy. This is why he was a first round draft pick in fantasy, and why I bet you he's going to be the second pick in the draft in 2024 fantasy drafts. Acuna's going to go. Acuna's 1 and Bobby Witt's 2.
Corbin Carroll maybe 3.
Yep, it's
right?
going to go. Yeah, it's going to go in one. I think probably in that order. Because
they're all going to hit 25 to 30 home runs and steal 40 to plus.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Acuna's already got 50. So,
yeah, Acuna. Yeah, that's just he's number 1 that with a bullet. Move on. He's going to go 2 because of what he's doing to finish.
He's got more power than Corbin Carroll does.
Yep. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, no problem. He's the highest roster shortstop tonight. To get back to tonight, not just seasonal, but
sure.
That just goes to show you this stretch that he's been on is obviously just
it's no fluke. This isn't a guy that's just hot and he'll fade out. He'll fade a little bit, but the expectation always was that Bobby Witt was an absolute superstar. So yes. Could very well just be coming into his own now with some of the adjustments there. I like Dansby hitting 5th. Again, we talked about Gunnar, to lock and load Gunnar tonight against Javier as well. Yep. I like Dansby Swanson hitting against Peterson here at 47, $100. We keep on ignoring Orlando Arcia, but the man is just dynamite from the bottom of this Braves order.
I said it last night. I gave some rub. I did say what you just said. I pretty much said we always forget about Orlando Arcia and we don't play him. We move on. And then I didn't play Orlando Arcia and I moved on. And then he not only won the game, but he homered prior to winning the game for them. Yeah. And just you said it from the start. Milwaukee just said piss off. They gave up on
him. They gave up on him, and they sent him over to, because Orlando Arcia was a top 100 prospect for a bit there, and one of the top prospects for the Brewers organization. They just kept on bringing different guys around to play, and they traded for Adames, and they just sent Arcia away, and he beat out Vaughn Grissom, right? Everybody was all in on Vaughn Grissom this year. And Orlando Arcia is nah, this is my job, kid. Go enjoy AAA, and now Grissom probably should be on the trade block because Arcia hasn't done anything to lose his job. So, you can pay. You have to pay a little bit more for Orlando Arcia tonight than usual, but you can go for it if you're not in on Darvish. J.B. Crawford obviously still leading off. Some good value there as well, but there wasn't a ton of value shortstops for me tonight. So.
We can just rapid fire these. Interest levels, hot or cold? Pablo Reyes.
Cold.
Tim Anderson.
Warm.
He's 10% projected, which is 3rd highest at shortstop.
I'll say this. I don't want to play him, but if I'm playing White Sox, I probably have some.
And then who was the third one I just saw? Paul DeYoung.
Cold.
Yeah, I couldn't get colder, honestly. Ice bath for me for Paul
Yeah,
DeYoung.
no good. All right, let's go to outfield then.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, there's just
Yeah, I mean,
one there.
yeah. Acuna guys.
Pick your stack again. Like you play Acuna, play Judge, play Soto, play Jordan. You can play Corbin Carroll, Kyle Tucker, Luis Robert, Cody Bellinger. I don't think there's a wrong answer tonight, so it's really about how you're building your lineups. So if I had to pick an absolute favorite for this evening that isn't Ronald Acuna at $6,800, I'm going Kyle Tucker at $5,500. I think that's my next man down because like he should be a 6K guy, right? Like,
Yep.
So I think I go Tucker at $5,500 after Acuna tonight if I'm building lineups.
Hard pressed to not agree. Flaherty has been way worse against lefties this year and way worse than that over the last 30 days. If I were guaranteed Luis Severino bulk innings, I would say Luis Robert would be my next favorite. But I don't feel that guarantee anymore, especially with like them just saying like we're exploring every option, He was slated to start and then he wasn't, right?
Right.
They had him prepare like he was going to start. So he'll be ready to come in. If I know if Boone speaks and there's like, yes, definitive answer, Severino is the long man, then I would play Luis Robert. He has been too good this year. Homered again yesterday. The only run that they scored off Clark Schmidt, who did in fact strike a lot of people out yesterday. Again, just random.
Big sad he couldn't get out of the sixth.
Oh, dude, did you see that? Did you see the hits that knocked him out of the game? Just brutal.
Needed that quality start for my my Roto League, man.
Brutal. Yeah, me and you jockeying for position right now.
Yeah, I just left you, so you know we're moving around. So
yeah, I mean, so I would go Robert. Other than that, like, man, the Judge at bats last night, Johnny, were good. I'm not gonna give away my home run call, but I'm not gonna say that I'm not doubling down on on yesterday's call either.
Mid-tier guys here again. I like Yoshida.
Yep.
You can go Zuner for the home run pop. We've talked about him already. I said last night, Michael Harris is my favorite dollar per play. Came through with 10 fantasy points. You know, he had a bases loaded opportunity and struck out. Big sad.
Could have been a huge night.
Big sad for John there. Could have been a big night. But still played him. We'll play him again here tonight at 43. Chas McCormick back in the lineup, $4,200. Duran's 41. We know he can be a menace on the base pass. So a lot of good guys in this 4K range.
Yeah, and Duran is the most popular position player on tonight's slate. And that is largely due to his upside. It's largely due to Jordan Lyles' incapable pitching to left-handed bats. So hard not to love Jarren Duran, hard not to love Yoshida, who is the third highest rostered batter of the night. Only like person I'd really add to that is George Springer, and only because I like the Blue Jays tonight. He wasn't great the last two nights. The Blue Jays in general, just 3 runs in the last 2 nights, but hits in each. So now hits in 5 straight games. He has definitely looked better. Back to hitting second tonight, which is an interesting spot going up against Logan T. Allen. So only real name I'd add to the group of guys you threw out there was George Springer.
Okay. And then if we move on under 4K, you have all the Cubs guys here. Happen say Eloy Jimenez is sitting right there in spot as well at for price point. Anybody that I've ignored at this point? Melendez, we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Melendez is very interesting. Look, I'm going back to the Jake Bauer as well here. Leading off once again for the Yankees tonight.
Where's he?
He is $2,800. All 11 home runs have come against right-handed pitching. He has an 830 OPS, a 278 isolated power against righties, 521 slug. Like, you know, it's all pretty good. Like, he strikes out a lot, sure. But the one thing that we have to consider here is he's always going to be the person to get pitches to hit when you're hitting in front of Aaron Judge, right? And he just naturally you are going to get good pitches to hit on the year against left-handed bats for Mike Clevenger. And I wish the Yankees had more left-handed bats because I would be interested in playing the Yankees other than Jake Bauer and frickin' Billy McKinney, who, expected to be on the team coming into the year, right? Both those guys. 226 ISO, 336 WOBA. Like it's not good for Clevenger, and he's been worse against righties lately. It's a small sample because he was on the IL, but lefties have hit Clevenger hard. He can't strike them out. He walks them too high, and Bowers does have a little stolen base upside. I know he only has 2 in the year, but I like him at 2,800 for a cheap value play.
Sure, fine by me. All right, let's get to it. Give me your top home run call today.
Just teased it. I'm going back to Aaron Judge. We're going back to back. He looked really, really good in back-to-back nights at the plate. Home run last night. He almost tripped and re-broke his toe. I don't know if you saw that after the home run. It would have been very sad. Would have just canceled the season. But I'm going back-to-back nights with Aaron Judge home run.
All right, I'm going to go with the Red Sox. I'm going to go Tristan Casas here tonight. Home run for Boston off Jordan Lyles. When it comes to my top stack, I already said I really like Atlanta and Houston here tonight. Red Sox will be chalky if you want to go there, but Atlanta and Houston will be my pivot stacks off them as well.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Atlanta really low owned is really interesting. I'm going to say Boston is still my top stack because, they're in such a good spot. They have a lot of lefties. That's where Jordan Lyles really struggles. I understand. And I'm saying that, though, they are very popular tonight. Every position, the leader in ownership is a Red Sox, other than, catcher. And that's just – and Reese McGuire is, second, right? So I'm saying it, and I understand that they're really popular, but it's such a good spot.
And it is, obviously. What's your value stack or contrarian stack, however you want to go about it?
I'm between Toronto and the Yankees.
Okay.
I'll go Toronto slightly because I wish the Yankees had more left-handed bats.
Okay. Contrarian stack for me today. Let's see. Where do I want to go for contrarian stack? What's the rostership on the Cubs today? Are people in on the Cubs against Peterson? No, Cubs. Lock me in for the Cubs as my contrarian stack there then. Go there. What's your value play today?
Does Tristan Casas qualifies, right? 3,900, 28 on FanDuel. I wrote him up in my value article.
Yeah,
so
go for it. He was my home run call, so that's fine.
I'll go with him. He's in the MLB DFS value play article.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Again, I have him as my home run call, so I'll double tap the value play with Casas for me tonight as well. So, all right, let's build a lineup. We've got a couple minutes left in the show. Where are we going for pitching? What's our play?
Can we just skip? Can we just not roster?
Want to build a lineup and go back to pitching and see what we got left?
What do we Yeah, I know
playing Casas here.
Yeah.
Catcher. What were we doing? Did we want to go Amaya down below, or did we want to play?
It's Amaya or Blue Jays, probably, right? It's probably.
Yeah. Let's start with Amaya first, and if we need money, we'll move around here. So, let's see. Officially, an update: Hamilton will start ahead of Severino. I think we knew that, anyways. But.
Well, yeah, no. Well, that's confirming Severino is pitching. That's the confirmation we needed. Sure. He hadn't been. Dude, as bad as he's been, I wouldn't have been surprised if they just
didn't pitch him. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Why?
That's fair. Massey at second.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have a lot of money here. So we'll go Devers at third.
Yep.
Witt, might as well run that stack. Outfield then. What's our value?
So we're gonna use one of Duran and Yoshida. My assumption is we'd use one of them.
Sure. Do you want to use Seiya?
He's kind of been bad against left-handed pitching.
O'Hearn, 2,900, just O'Hearn dart.
That's a good one. Well, you want Tucker, right? Of all the right?
But I mean, we got to figure out how we can fit all these guys in. So we got a little game stack going of Casas and of KC Boston. So I'm okay if we don't add any more to this game. If we need to find value elsewhere,
I'm okay going one of the Cubs outfielders. That's fine.
Okay, you like Hab over Seiya?
They're a little bit. Hab's numbers are coming around against lefties.
You liked Judge. Judge is 64. So we did Judge. We'll need another cheap guy down here. Let's just see what O'Hearn does for us here. O'Hearn, 86.50.
So it's Darvish and close your eyes.
Well, I mean, if we do Hendricks.
True. I forgot. We could do the Hendricks.
Okay,
here it is. Ready? Go
Seiya?
Bowers. Yeah. Well, I was going to say you double tap the Yankees and go Bowers, Judge, top 2, and you get the $100 to BAU. And you get now you have the double tap of the Yankees top lineup, one off, or you actually have the Amaya Happ 2-man, and then the stack of KC Boston.
So there it is. There's an example lineup tonight for our DraftKings plays here. Again, the playbook is already out, so go check that out. If you have any questions, you know where to find us, both on Twitter and in the Discord. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Slam family, you see the scroll down below. Go to fantasyslam.com/allpro. You can sign up today, get a 7-day free trial, get access to our fantasy football draft guide, and access to our premium Discord when you sync your account into the Discord from your My Account page. So check all of that out there. Of course, James and I will be back tomorrow breaking down the Thursday slate. I think it's a little guy. I think Thursday's a little guy here. So we'll be out back breaking all that stuff down for all of